Hey, what's up? Alright, so if everything went accordingly, you just saw me kind of start the teardown process on this. Removing all the top hat pieces and all the flanges, side flanges, getting it ready. Getting ready to pull this old bladder out in preparation for modifying this tank. And the goal for this tank is to basically do away with the bladder system that these cars came with. This bladder, as everyone knows, is stupid expensive, stupid hard to change. I believe a replacement from Fuel Safe right now is like $2,400. And they're only good for 5 or 6 years. A lot of guys have gotten more use out of them. Some guys have gotten less use out of them. Some guys have had them leak. Some guys have had them like this one did right here. It starts to deteriorate, and just your pre-filter and your fuel filter will suck all this shit up and start clogging. Some tanks, now I don't understand this and I haven't really got any clarification. This is out of one of the original 300 cars. This tank does not have, I don't see, you can see it, does not have the weep holes right here. Some of these tanks have a weep hole on each side, and I've heard from a few different people about them. No one can figure out why. This one does not have them, so this would, I guess, not be one of the tanks that would leak when it went bad. I guess this was like a visual representation of when they go bad. So yeah, let's see. Let's see if I can get in here and get some shots of the tank. It might be kind of hard, kind of dark. I don't have a light on this camera. Yeah, I think it's too dark. There we go. Now this is with all of the foam out of the tank. I am going to ditch, let's see if I can pull this one out, all of this cork shit gasket. I'm sure it was, it's fine when you had the bladder installed. I think going to a bladderless design would be bad. I've seen cork gaskets leak time and time again. So I am going to do fuel or full rubber gaskets throughout. What else? I'm gonna have to make another flange. The owner I got this tank from was missing, which it's not gonna be hard to make. That was probably the easiest flange out of all of them to make. So I thought this was pretty cool right here. So this is the only thing I can find stamped in the tank to show that it is one of the original 300 cars. It's stamped, I don't know if you read that, it says R27. After I removed the bladder in this thing, I went through and did a lot of extensive cleaning to the inside of the tank because it had all that old leftover goo and just nastiness. Had overspray from the powder coat. So yeah, all that was fun to clean. I'm not going back with a bladder or anything, so I wanted it to be clean aluminum, nothing to get into my filters and clog it or anything like that. So yeah, we'll get to that in here in a second. Over here, got a lot going on. Got a bunch of parts that came in. Let's see. Gonna go ahead, just because it's here, why not? Gonna put a new filler neck in it. Fuel pump sock. Let me go down here. So originally I was gonna go back with the standard fuel pump sock style. That has changed. I will no longer be using that. I will now be using this right here. Turn this down. Sorry, I have the radio right next to it. I will now be using this Holley Hydromat. This is a pretty badass little thing. If y'all haven't heard about it, look into it. They're pretty cool. Let's see what we got. New gaskets. I will be making my own fuel hat. Gonna fabricate one using 3/8 aluminum plate for the top, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned for that as well. Real pain in the ass right here. I don't know if I've ever done this before, but so this one right here you can buy brand new, no problem. Should I throw my glove? This one you can buy brand new, no problem. Still, this you cannot get anymore. So that's a real pain in the ass. Luckily, I was able to salvage mine out of the tank I took out of the car. If you ever have to do this, it's a pain in the dick, I'm telling you right now. Best route I found was to heat this rubber up, some WD-40, and just take your time, try to wedge it out. Gaskets. So I'm putting all new gaskets in there, doing away with this cork shit. I'll no longer have a bladder anymore. I don't trust cork gaskets. I mean, even though this is the rubber infused shit, I still don't trust it. I had a little trial and error trying to find what style gasket was best to use. I know Viton is the best of the best, but it's expensive as hell, and in the end, that's what I had to use. Buna-N, nitrile, and neoprene all failed on me. I bought those and tried to soak them in gas, and it just swells, and it's no good. So I ended up having to purchase a 24 inch by 24 inch sheet of Viton. It was $140. It's $140 in gaskets right there. It sucked, but whatever. When I got the tank, the filler neck flange, it did not have one, so I had to make one. I machined this out myself, so it's good to go now. I got all this is a side vent flange. Fun fact about these flanges, all these bolts right here I have are useless. So whenever I took my bolt measurements, I was going to buy all new bolts. I use this little bad boy right here. Because I mean, you know, hey, you think they're all from the same tank, same flanges, give me the same thread count, right? Wrong. The evap flange is a SAE bolt. It's a 1/4 28. Everything else, the main bulkhead flange, the filler neck flange, the side vent flange, and even the fuel pump hat are all metric. Those are all M6 by 1. They vary in between 25 millimeter and 30 millimeter. I believe one of them was 12 millimeter. I don't remember which one it was. Anyways, went and got all new nylon washers. These are the old bolts. I'm waiting on the correct new bolts to come in still. So yeah, I think we're caught up there. Now, getting back to the tank. Like I said, I went through and extensively cleaned this tank out as much as I could. Try to clean all the goo and everything out that was in here. Let me see if I can get this camera in there again. It's gonna... That was a fun project. And foam, I went back with foam, and over here I've already pre-cut it all. I have it out right now to do a final clean on the tank, just because when you're cutting foam, the little shards like to get everywhere. So all that is out right now. I'll be putting that back in here shortly. And for anyone that's curious, if you ever go to put new foam in a fuel cell and you don't know what the hell to cut it with, I've seen a lot of people use like bread knives, heat up a razor blade, etc., etc. If you go to Lowe's, all right, and back in the floor scraping section, it's Persona. I have a part number in here. Anyways, these are like 8-inch. Here's a part number right here. Here we go. 6118257. These are like 8-inch razor blades, and they work wonderfully for these fuel cell foam blocks. And it cuts right through it like butter. So, I guess we'll go ahead and start stuffing this back with foam. Alright, so the foam install is done now. Got it in there pretty good. It's pretty packed. I stuffed it pretty tight. It's not gonna slide around, slosh around, anything like that. That little cavity right there is gonna be for the hydromat. It's gonna run a long ways, like so. It's a 15 by 3 hydromat, 16-111, I believe is the part number. Here's the cavity for the evap stuff, or the vents, and the filler neck. Let's see if I can get a video around here. So this is where the filler neck will come in. And the vents will come right here. Let me see if I can drop those in real quick. Is that lined up? Close enough. Alright. So there's plenty of room in there. The stock bulkhead cover, I guess this is just a specific $300 thing, because all the guys I've talked to that have gotten the tanks from Feel Safe after the 300 run, and yes, I just like showing that up. Well, R27. All the guys I've talked to said that their lids are actually different. I took this picture when I took it all apart, and this is how it looked in factory form. I altered this arm right here just to help keep the foam pressed back, so now it looks like so, and then when I drop it in, keeps pressure on that foam as well, just an added security. If I can drop this down in here, it's gonna be hard to do. It holds back on all of that. Alright, tank is just about done now. Kind of left out a little bit. Been dealing with the winter storm here the past week. I got a little bit done. I think the last time we left off I had put these flanges in. I finished the interior, all the foam and everything is good. Went ahead and put the top plate back on. Now, let's see, where's my flashlight at? Alright, let's see if I can show you the inside of this. With it being bladderless now, I tried to stack it with as much foam as I could. Just kind of help with fuel slosh as much as possible. So that cavity down there is for the fuel pickup sock. I'll show you that here in a second. Now I'm working on the fuel hat. I went round and around with a few different ways of doing this. I was gonna try using the stock hat and TIG welding, the brace on there for the pump to hold on to, and after going through that, then I thought, you know, alright, let's try the 0304 Cobra one. That was less work. And the hat that I picked up for the 0304 Cobra, sadly I wasn't able to use. The wiring in it was too short. And I just got tired of dicking with it, so I spent too much money on this thing. It is set up for a dual pump. I did away with that. I'm only going to run a single pump in here. It is plugged off. So, when I got the hat, this is a Division X hat, by the way. because I am a return. I am on a return style fuel system, so that was another thing I would have had to add into the stock style hat. When you get this, it comes with a -10 feed and a -8 return. These are the original fittings right here. They are the O-ring fittings. So I swapped those out. Got that good to go. The bolts they send you obviously weren't going to work, so I had to go and get some longer bolts. Just because of the tank, these sit in a lot further. I don't know if you can see that. Anyways, had to bend the fuel level arm, pickup arm to match the tank. It works out pretty well. Get pretty much all the fluctuation I need in there. As far as fuel pickups, like I was talking about, so this is your standard style sock right here, sock filter, pre-filter, whatever you want to call it. What I'll be going with, like I talked about earlier in a video, this is the Holley Hydromat. It's a pretty cool little device. If y'all haven't heard of these, go look them up and see how they work. It's pretty awesome. So this is going to go in place of it. So let's get to it. That together, got it in. That was a pain with the Hydromat. It was doable. It took a minute. Took a long screwdriver to kind of poke at the back side of the Hydromat to get it to go in that little wedge that was down in the foam. Got that in. Everything is completely empty in here. Next up, I wanted to test the fuel level sensor. You know, I mocked it up before and everything looked good, but since we're in final assembly now, I wanted to check it. I didn't video it, but because I had to flip the tank over and it was just a pain, I did take pictures of it. So here you go, sitting just like it was, tied into the ohm meter. I'm getting 15 ohms empty. Flip the tank over and I'm getting 160 completely. So when I flipped it over, of course the float is going to drop to the bottom, which would, you know, technically be at the full position. So yeah, 15 and 160, which is exactly what it's supposed to be. So mint. You know, a lot of the Cobra R owners, they complain about their level sensors. It's never read correctly ever. And that has to do with the basket design that's in that with the bladder. It catches up on it, so you only have so much room in there to alternate or to fluctuate that arm in there. So I believe I'm done with the tank now. It's ready for install. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna take this line off right here, because on the R, this is actually supposed to come off of this to go up into the filler neck port, which is this port right here. It comes off of the neck and comes up here, so that will be coming off. Getting ready for that. Tech tip, I don't know if anyone else does this, I just do it. So I'm running return. I'm running a -6 speed, -6 return, and I do have a hatch in the back, the trunk of the car, so if I ever got to pull the pump in a hurry, I'll know which one's which. That's why I'm color coding it right here. Red and blue speed, black's return. Simple. It's a nice warm 40 degrees this morning. Weather's prettier today, so looks like it's time to get this tank in the car finally. Here we go.